Desk. Now, the National Assembly Committee on Transport has plans to bring forward proposals for stringent measures in the transport sector that will seek to see sanity return to our roads. The committee is in Mombasa for an induction, and the proposals will be ready in a month's time for debate on the floor of the House and also public participation. Let's now speak to our reporter in Mombasa, Victor Ogalle, on this. Victor, what are some of the highlights of this particular session for members of the Transport Committee in the National Assembly?
Well, Akisa, some of the proposals that are expected, rather the bill that is expected to be tabled on the floor of the House, it seeks to bring some sort of sanity, or rather bring stringent measures or make it culpable, because according to the committee, they feel that the Traffic Act, rather the Police Act, as well as the Penal Code on matters pertaining traffic, there seems to be loopholes. And if you look at the Traffic Act, according to the committee, they feel that it is time that they bring stringent measures in bringing people, or rather making people more responsible when it comes to our roads. This is coming at a time when we've had lots of Kenyans having lost their loved ones, lost their lives towards the end of the year, that is last year, that is 2017, with the killer roads mainly being the stretch from Nakuru to Sashangwan to Miga, all the way to Kamara, that is in Nakuru County, where we had several accidents happening week in, week out, as much as the other accidents that happened in other parts of the countries, in the country, in Eastern, and as well as on Thika Road and towards Nyeri and Meru. However, this time around, the House Committee on Transport seeks to see that, for example, if an accident happens, as much as previously we've seen that the people who are being brought to book is either the driver or the matatu crew, this time around, the managers of that particular circle are going to be held accountable. And Akisa, just to shed more light on this particular issue, is the chairman of the House Committee on Transport, David Kosing. Very good afternoon and welcome to KTN News. Just shed more light on this particular, the proposals that you and your committee members want to bring forth to the floor of the House.
Yeah, thank you, Victor, for bringing me on board on this. And basically, as you said, we've been having a challenge in this country in terms of road carnage and so on. We've lost a number of Kenyans who, when we sit down, we would say we would not have lost them. Because if you look at what has been argued in terms of research is that 80% of accidents are caused by what they call human error, which means it can be avoided, And we are saying who should have done what should be done to avoid those deaths. And then there are two things that we as a committee representing the people of Kenya have to do. Number one is that we have to look at the infrastructure, which is the building of the road. Now, as you said rightly, the road which has killed many Kenyans is between Nakuru and Eldoret. And we are saying, what happens with that road? How was it designed? How was it built? And one of the proposals which we have had very strictly is that road should be dual carriage immediately. And particularly from, down the bridge called Salga, up to all the way up to what we play a place called Total. And we have agreed with the ministry and said, look, this is the way forward. And as I said, we have agreed that within the next 1 or 2 months, Kenyans will see that road will be a dual carriage. Dual carriage, in a sense, means that the cars going towards Nakuru, towards Eldoret, will use a different side of the road. Let's say two lanes. And then coming down, they will use 2 lanes. Because some of these accidents have been caused by head-on collision. So we will deal with infrastructure, and we will look at the whole country. However, we also look at the human, what now you say human error, which is 80% of these problems. Like, for example, if there's an overspeeding of a car, just because maybe this car had no speed governor, whose responsibility was that, or is that? It is the CEO of the SACCO and the owner of the car, the PSV. These people are failed. Okay, another question is, look at that car that killed people on 26th, coming from all the way from Kisumu, and people died in Sajanwan. The issue is that car had no tires. Whose responsibility was to put tires in the first place? It is the responsibility of the owner of the car and the SACCO. Who left that car to come all the way from Kisumu to have an accident here in Sajanwan? If a policeman would have taken responsibility and stopped that car, maybe way down in Kisumu, we would have saved 36 people who would be alive today as I talk in Mombasa. When I was charged with this responsibility by Parliament, I said this: there are 2 people that we need to bring to the chopping board. Number one is the CEO of the SACCO. How on earth would he sit down, leave a car go without speed governor, and when there's an accident, he's not brought to book? So what is happening? The accident will go on and on and on. So that we don't police them, now we are sending the ball back to them and say, look, we want to bring the law and we want to amend Traffic Act. So that when an accident occurs, and it is realized, Victor, that that accident occurred because of a human error, omission or commission, then that person will go to court, will go to jail. Number two, even that traffic man who left that car to travel all the way with all those problems. Number one, maybe it didn't have speed governor. Who left the car going is the traffic officer. Number two, it was overcrowded because there were too many people. Okay, you need 14 people to be in that car. Now there are 19. Who is supposed to see is that traffic officer. I have said in my proposal that if an accident occurs, the traffic officer immediately after that accident, before the accident occurred, will have to go to jail.
Well, there are a couple of issues here being brought together. There's the issue of enforcement and the issue of perhaps policy making or legislation. And we recently had the formation of NTSA. So perhaps how are you going to ensure that all these bodies or other agencies are brought together to ensure that your proposal sails through?
You know, it's very nice. You know, we've agreed that NTSA will be out of the road. And that has been brought by the head of state himself and given a decree to that effect. That is okay. Now, what's going to happen is that NTSA shall be the investigating authority. If an accident occurs, we require NTSA to come and tell us what was the cause of accident, so that we look at, also along with the regulations, who committed, whose responsibility was supposed to do what it was supposed to have been done, which was not done before the accident. It is the NTSA will tell us that. And police now will be liable. Their role is enforcement. Because what I'm trying to address, Victor, and I want to tell the people of Kenya, we want to address this issue of corruption as well. Because many people say, you know, policemen take money. We saw last week a policeman in a camera, you know. So shall we be waiting for camera so that we arrest police and take them home? No. We, representatives of the people, we are saying, policeman, wewe ukichukua pesa ya mtu, ama usipochukua pesa ya mtu, hiyo ni shauri yako. Lakini if accident, for example, occurs down the line, you are going to go to jail. That way, they will be saying, will I take the money or I'll go to jail? Of course, they will say, I will not take the money because I'm going to jail, and we will not have that corruption, my brother.
Okay, well, Akisa, those are sentiments of the chair of the House Committee on Transport, David Pokosing, is also a legislator from West Pokot County, deliberating more on the proposals that seek to bring some sanity on our roads here in Kenya. Akisa?